it's this thread. I was like, why is this coming from? Okay. Alright. So remember how when we stretched it, it would grow a little, but look now with the tape, it doesn't even move at all. Okay, so then what you're gonna do is that you're gonna line up, basically facing up both of yourself and your inner lining. The first thing you're gonna do. So let's put this face down. And then you're gonna line this up so you can see all your boning and all that from this side. Do you see that?
Face
So,
to face.
no, face to face is face to face, like this one and this one. But no, we're gonna put it like face up both. So if I turn it around, it's like facing up. See? Facing up. Facing up. So what you're gonna do now is that you wanna line up, since they're perfectly matched, they should be, you're gonna pin your seams to seams just to make sure that they're lined up properly. You're gonna do this all the way around. See? You might have little gaps, but it's okay because you have been playing with your corset for a while. So it might have a little growth here and there, but that's the whole purpose of putting it together. A lot of the times they call this framing because you're making something, two things to become one. And a few of you have been doing that with your laces and your charmeuse and lace with what's called organza or net and stuff like that, or organza with sheer shape. So it's framing technically. But right now what you're doing is that you're making this layer become one with this one. So you see I'm lining out all the seams up, making sure they're pinned in between here. And that's why it's very important that you have the boning half an inch away from the top and the bottom, because you're going to be stitching across those areas. And you don't want to break your needle or like have damage to your corset because it's stuck or something like that on the machine. So you're going to do this all the way to the end. You want to make sure this is the same length, as you can tell. You want to do this all the way around. So I'm only going to do half of this, and then she's going to finish it, and then we're going to talk about, and then I'm going to show you how to press, like how to make it one, and you'll see. And then I'm going to show you some hand tacks after that. What we're gonna do is that you're gonna sew. You know how you have your seam allowance here. You're only trying to sew half of your seam allowance. So if you have a quarter or a half, try to sew as close as possible to the edge of your seam allowance. So in this case, you saw that I put down my needle. Does anybody have a screwdriver?
Yes.
No, because this needle's not positioned properly. Remember how, have I showed you guys? Doing half, so yeah, pretty much, because it has to just match up. So if you notice, I'm grabbing pin to pin, and I'm kind of stretching it out a little bit, but not as much. So then I'm just gonna sew across. And like she has these corners, I'm gonna pivot, it's very important. But look, it's becoming one. So right here, you're going to make sure that it's straight across. Almost eating it. you see how she has this curve? You just want to make sure that you don't overstretch it, especially if you have these nice little curves on the bottom hem.
The boning is inside, right?
Yeah, she has a boning in there. Yeah, her boning is in there and sealed. So it's just making sure your boning is at the safe distance that it's required. She's gonna finish with the wrist. So you see how it's nice, now it's like all sewn, but it's like kind of wavy and bubbly. So now this is gonna happen to your whole corset. So now we're gonna go to the iron and I'm gonna show you how to make this completely one. Come on, let's go. Wavy, wavy. So what you're gonna do is that you wanna make sure this becomes one. So if you look at it, and you see this bubbling effect, what you want to do when that happens is you just want to push it down. The reason is because when you push it down towards the bottom, you catch your 1/2 inch seam allowance or the full quarter, it'll catch it and you'll know it's nice and even. And also because it gives you that extra to fold. Yeah. So you're going to do that all the way across. The last thing you do once you're done with this and pressing it nice and even, making sure that everything's like together, using your hands, using the edge of the table. Cool. You're going to do hand stitches all the way through. You have that, Eva? Yeah. So, okay. So what you're going to do is that from the bottom up, you're going to try to catch as best possible, if you notice, right inside the seam. You see that? And you're going to go back in. And you might crash into the boning, so that's when you start like moving it around, where you can like kind of go sideways. And you want to do like maybe 1 or 2 tacks, like 1, 2, 3 or something like that. Because the reason is because that way it won't move, because this is still kind of 2 pieces. So then it becomes 1. So once I...
just kind of like set, anchoring both.
Yeah, I'm anchoring both together at their seams. So if you notice, I'm inside the seam, and then I'm going to just go a little further down, just like maybe an 8, and then just make sure my needle goes through. And you can't see where I'm stitching because it's in the stitch. So it's like if you're stitch in a ditch kind of thing. But you just want to do 2 to 3 on each of your panels depending on where, just for it to become 1. And then you just want to knot it off. So then this becomes completely 1. And if I pass it around, you can feel the difference between having the 2 layers just overlap between these 2. So if you pass